What's up, guys? Jonathan here. I know we don't normally start the show this way, but we have something extremely exciting to talk to you about. It's the thing we've been teasing for months now. It's happening. Bombs Away Live. That's right, Bombs Away Live, the only place where you can get the movie screened and have us make fun of it all in one giant live event. And if you're in the Southern California area, you are not going to want to miss this. August 16th at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana, a fully themed event transporting you back to 1987 when this film was released. Featuring a hilarious pre-show filled with clips from previous episodes, multiple photo opportunities, 80s and movie-themed costume contest, and ninjas. That's right, ninjas. All this and more to celebrate the screening of the 1987 B-movie masterpiece, Miami Connection. That's right, we're doing Miami Connection. The Taekwondo 80s synth-pop masterpiece, written, directed, and starring YK Kim, comes to the screen for one night only, and right after, we're going to rip it apart. Featuring audience participation and live Q&A from you. That's right, you, but there's only one chance for you to do that. That's if you join us August 16th for Bombs Away Live. You can get your tickets for this amazing event by typing bombsawaylive.eventbrite.com. That's bombsawaylive.eventbrite.com. See you ninjas there.
My father! I found my father! Oh my god! 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 Oh my god!
All right, do we have some taglines?
We do indeed.
Woo.
Ready? Okay. The funniest movie of the year.
The end of that should not be an exclamation point. It should be a question mark.
But also, like, I don't remember much of 97, so I can't say yes or no.
That's real. That's true.
Who's hurting who?
It says hunting.
Is it, I think I've...
Who hunts who?
Oh, an AC/DC song?
Yeah. They make music for every other bad
not
movie.
Not hurting. Yeah, sorry, the text is a bit, it's a bit small. The mouse never dies.
That's just...
Is that like James Bond,
No,
Tomorrow Never Dies?
Propaganda for Disney.
Oh. Okay. The squeak shall inherit the earth. I like this one.
That one is good.
I like this one.
I do.
Okay. And you don't need to be big to be a hero. You just need 6
What?
big heroes.
The mouse is a hero? I don't...
He's kind of an antagonist, kind of a...
Is he like Deadpool anti-hero?
There you go.
Okay.
With a budget of $38 million and a gross of $61.9 million, with 1 death, 2 men covered in fecal matter, 1 mouse puppet, 1 cat puppet, 1 eating of mouse droppings, 1 man hit by a bus, 2 explosions, 1 hair on fire, and 1 house flood and collapse, with a 6.4 on IMDb and a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 1997's Mousehunt. Let's drop some bombs.
We're missing one killer party.
You're very pretty. My name isn't pretty. It's Barbarella.
Hitler with a tail. This is the omen with whiskers. Nostradamus didn't see this thing coming.
Oh, hey, man.
That's only his last name. He likes to be called Superman.
It's not who you go with, honey. It's who takes you home.
I'll see you at the prom.
Let's drop some lead on those motherfuckers.
Welcome to Bombs Away, the only podcast recorded inside a projection booth. My name is Jonathan Young. Joining me in the studio, as always, is...
A rat, not a mouse. Jared Seifert, sorry.
You couldn't even... I can't even get it out. I love it
I
so
thought
much.
of that earlier, and I was like, it's so stupid.
And ladies and gentlemen, joining us for the first time on the show, we have somebody who actually worked on the film that we're about to do. It's so exciting. Please welcome the host and creator of the Movies Made Me podcast, Miss Cheryl Jones.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't have a clever line like a rat. I feel bad now that I didn't prepare one.
No, it's a me thing because I like to jazz it up.
He works on it every week, and this is as close as we get to perfection.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right. It was pretty good.
It's the only thing I prepare for recording. I'm like, okay, what do I say at the start? The rest of it is all just freehand drawing. I don't know.
And can I just say, the mouse never dies? I never once heard that in association with this movie before today. The mouse never dies. What is that? It looks like it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like a takeoff on some other tagline, and I don't know what.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It was like Tomorrow Never Dies, because that came out around that time.
Oh, did it? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but still,
the rest of them I know, and yes, I agree. The mouse is not really a hero, so
okay.
It was just
there
a
isn't
spoiler.
really a hero. It's not that kind of movie, really.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just a modern day Laurel and Hardy.
It is. It is absolutely that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before we jump into the show, we've got a couple of huge announcements going on, and we'd like to start off with the fact that we were on Cheryl's show.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Okay, so Cheryl, tell the audience everything about Movies Made Me.
Everything?
Everything, okay? Because, I mean, I have
Well,
mine.
it all started
I have,
with Amadeus. See, I know.
No, Jaws was first.
Jaws, okay, Jaws.
I mean,
well, which did you see first?
Jaws.
Oh, you did
when
see
it
Jaws
came
first.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Because I remember Amadeus you
75?
saw as a teen.
Yes.
So I think that's why I thought it was first.
No, Jaws was first.
Okay.
Sadly,
got it.
yes.
So, I mean, Jared and I have our own perspective because we were lucky enough to be a guest on your show.
Yes.
But I want our people to hear it from the person who made the show, who came up with the inception, the brainchild of it all. I want you to tell them about it, and how it came to be.
Okay, so Movies Made Me is a show about the movies that have influenced us to be who we are. So not necessarily your favorite movies, but ones that influenced you in some way. So it was born out of my own experience, both with Jaws when I was 7 years old. Actually, I looked up the release date recently, and I could possibly still have been 6, depending when we saw it. It came out right before my 7th
That
birthday.
always happens with me because I'm like a December baby.
Yeah.
So they'll be like 1998, and I'll be like, I was 8. No, I actually was probably 7.
Yeah, mine's July, so it's
it's the middle ground. That's scary.
Yeah, so I can't ever tell. But
when did it come out, actually? Because most people, and I think it's because in the plot, it's 4th of July weekend, right?
Yeah.
People seem to screen it this coming week coming up.
Yes. It came out in June of 75. So, and my birthday is July 4th, so...
happy early.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good birthday, but Jaws gets shown every year on my birthday, which I can watch it. I love the movie. I watch it all the time, but seeing it at 7... in Santa Cruz, California, a seaside town, while we were on vacation, kind of like everybody in the movie, and a
shark came through the screen.
I was wholly unprepared for that at that age. So, and I am about to turn 50, and I still have the fear. So that plus Pirates of the Caribbean, which was a monumentally influential movie in my life, even though I was well into adulthood at that point. Yes,
which has its connections to today's movie.
Yes, it does. It does indeed. And so that movie, sent me off on this journey of reading about pirates, reading about ships, becoming a tall ship sailor for a little while. I'm trying to make this fast. Because it's lengthy.
The meter's running outside.
Getting into all kinds of strange hobbies related to that kind of era, more or less. And eventually quitting my job at Disney, which I'd been working for 10 years, moving to England for a year, going to school at University of Exeter for a master's in maritime history, and then coming back home, and now the podcast came out of it as well. So it's, the very first episode of the podcast is me talking about my 5 influential movies, and we also go beyond 5 movies into 3 other things, anything that influenced you, because it's not just movies that made us who we are. So in a nutshell, that's the show.
Excellent.
Cool.
And I just want to say that if you guys are interested in hearing Jarrett and my 5 movies that made us, that brought this show that you're listening to together and everything. If we don't already go off on enough tangents, you get an hour and a half long exclusive tangent about each one of us individually on your show. And where can people find that?
You can find it at the website, mmmpodcast.com, or podcast, as some people like to say it. And all your finer podcast locations, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, that's what it's called now, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcasting app.
Excellent. So my episode will be is out now.
Yep.
And Jarrett's will be out on July 9th.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's
okay.
correct.
Cool.
Excellent. So if you're genuinely interested in about Jarrett and myself, go check that out. And there's tons of guests. I mean, I'm episode 87?
Oh,
so
something like that. Yes,
right?
I think you are
So-
87.
Wow.
Jarrett will
So-
be 88.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's tons.
I'm
double
recorded.
digits.
I'm recorded way past that, so I
Yes.
don't even
Yeah.
know what episode I'm releasing currently. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
pretty-
Previous guest that we've had on the show, Jake Lloyd, he was
Yep.
from No Holds Barred. He
Yep.
he was on an episode of yours.
Yes, he was on fairly
And
early, I think.
has Trevor come
His
come
has
up?
not aired yet. His will air at some point. I don't remember when.
Okay, excellent. So, but the point being,
he's
guys,
been there.
I haven't even edited it yet.
okay. The point being, guys, is that if you enjoy us and you enjoy the guests that we've had on the show, you can find out deeper, intuition. I don't know, deep
In-depth?
insight
Insight, that's a good
into
In-depth insight.
into their world.
Yeah, I've had the creators of Phineas and Ferb on the show. They've each done an
Oh.
episode. I've had Clancy Brown on the show a couple times now. And yes,
Nice.
every once in a while I get like a name, it's exciting.
Oh, are we not names? Thanks.
Well,
No,
you're
No,
on
we're
this,
really not.
You're
We're
on
really
the
not.
same
Yeah.
level name as me, and I'm not a name, so no offense.
We're
but
all just
None
amateur
taken.
podcasts.
we're a bunch of schmucks. Let's be honest.
So let's dive into the movie here. Today's Mousehunt
Yes,
from
it is.
'97, and I'd also like to start off with how you're involved with Mousehunt.
Yeah, I came on to the shoot during a camera test way in advance of production as a PA just for a couple of days, and then the first AD brought me back again in pre-production to work as her PA. And so because I was working on storyboards with her and the visual effects boards, when they brought in a visual effects producer who hadn't worked in production before, she'd worked in visual effects houses, basically, where they create the effects, but she hadn't worked on a production before, so they attached me to her as her PA since I had some familiarity with the shots already.
They were like, please help her.
Right. But then I ended up doing more work than that, so by the end of it I had worked myself into the title of visual effects coordinator, which is what I actually did on the shoot. So
That's awesome.
that's
So cool.
how I did it.
So is I know we'll get into it more in depth as we hit each of the shots that you worked on, but
Yeah.
is there any that would be like, oh, remember that from the movie that you're like, I definitely worked on that? Like, say, I don't know, the cockroach or
Yes,
like
well-
specific scenes that you can recall?
Well, I mean, there were 153 visual effects shots throughout the movie. Some as simple as wire removals or fixing little bits of snow in the street that didn't look the way the director wanted them to look.
So I was just like editing out snow, like that lump.
No, we
right
were
there.
actually putting in snow.
Oh,
Yeah, there was
okay.
like an open space in front of a car on a street
That
like
would-
that the
yeah.
character was walking past, and he didn't like that, so we had to
That's
add
neat.
snow.
That's better than taking
To,
snow out.
and then yes, we had cockroaches. We had 7 different visual effects houses that worked on things. So the cockroaches were actually done in Australia.
Okay.
And I had another one in my head just now, and I can't remember what it was. Some of the shots of the mouse.
Cat box?
Yes, there were some of the cat were visual effects shots. That does not sound like English. Some of the shots of the mouse were visual effects. Some weren't. Some were animatronic. Some were a real mouse. We had a lot of, and to the extent of removing a character entirely from a scene who was cut out of the movie.
Oh.
And removing him from the porch of the house completely. So
Oh,
I felt
okay.
I felt very poorly about that one. I
Sorry,
really felt
dude.
sad for that guy. I really did. I was like, man, that hurts.
So you just digitally deleted somebody?
Yes.
Wow.
Just
Okay.
took him right off the porch.
Well, let's dive right in, shall we?
Yes.
So first, this movie was directed by Gore Verbinski.
Yes.
Which we said had a connection to one of your favorite movies, Pirates.
Yes, indeed.
He directed Pirates of the Caribbean 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
The Lone Ranger, which I'm sure will make it on the show eventually,
I actually like that movie, but
and The Ring from 2002.
That is a curveball of credits.
right. And Rango, the animated.
Oh, yeah, the lizard.
Rango,
yes,
yes.
which he won an Oscar for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's had a very interesting cavalcade of things.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yes.
like, okay, you did this, and then you did this, but also you did this, and then
And he started. Mousehunt was his first feature, and he'd kind of been discovered when he did the Budweiser Frogs Super Bowl
That's right.
commercials. Yes.
Yep, he did. Bud.
I apparently
You thought he was going to continue
Yeah,
that.
No,
I was
thought
not
he
going to
was.
do wise.
Then
or
I would have
not
done
wise.
her. And
Yeah.
we would have been, come on, man.
I forgot about that. Sorry, because it just popped in my head. This is also DreamWorks' first family-friendly film.
Yes,
or
it was
family
their
film.
it was their second film overall.
Kind of family friendly. I mean,
yeah.
they
It's
definitely
very-
swear.
yeah.
It was more family friendly than the original screenplay and director's cut. Yes. Which I always wish they'd put out a director's cut, but there's no way this movie's ever
Yeah.
going to get that. Yeah.
Right?
There's just no reason for it.
It'll come in its 50th
We'll make some
anniversary.
calls. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh my God! It's coming up on the IMDb message board some more again. Why?
Yes.
Somebody figure this out. So yeah, the movie starts off with a funeral scene.
Yes.
So basically, Papa Muntz, who is the owner and creator of this major string factory.
Yeah, Schmuntz string.
Yes, in they never say what city it is. It's just a made up city, right?
Yeah, it's just kind of.
And he has passed, and it's actually, this is one of the best shot parts for me in the film.
Well, that's probably because I worked as a PA that day. I was
Ooh.
there. We shot it on Wilshire.
I did not know this
You
either.
just took all credit. You were
Of course
like,
I did. Come on.
you're like, yeah.
I
it's
gotta
'cause
get something.
I was there.
I was running craft services. They were so happy that they put on the best performance of their life.
We shot it at a church on Wilshire Boulevard in LA and added fake steps. So
Okay.
they're very, very, very narrow.
Oh, they're
steps.
super steep
Yes,
too.
and then we had a lot of older people up on them. So that was what most of the PAs did that day, was just escort the older actors up and down those very dangerous steps.
gosh.
Well,
Yes.
you wanted to make sure that it was many people's last movie.
Right?
Because unfortunately, Papa Muntz, who
Schmuntz.
is Schmuntz, am I saying it?
Schmuntz or Smuntz?
Because
either way.
part of me it keeps going. Don't say schmuck. Don't say schmuck.
I'm sorry, now I put that in your head.
No, it's okay. But Papa Schmuntz,
Yes.
correct, is played by William Hickey.
Yeah.
And who, for me, I most remember him as the uncle who lights the tree on fire on Christmas Vacation.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's also the voice of the mad scientist in Nightmare Before Christmas. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
and
He's even in the producers, the original version, as a younger
That's
man,
right.
and he looks just as old as a young man as he did as an old man. It's a
Right?
very unique look.
because
Yeah.
this is unfortunately his last role.
Yes.
And that's where I was like, you guys were trying to do off a lot of people and make this their last film. So let's put a whole bunch of. Was it raining that day, by the way?
No, that was fake. I
Okay,
mean,
that was
we
fake.
did have sprinkler rain, and then there was, in some of the shots, there's digital rain.
Okay, because I'm like, let's put him up on the steepest stairs possible, and then in the rain. That
Yes.
sounds
Well,
safe.
it was wet, so yes.
Right. And then, so basically, they're walking the coffin down the stairs,
Mm-hmm.
and a handle breaks off, and it just falls, slides down the stairs, hits some sort of guardrail or the
hearse.
car.
Yeah, it hits the hearse, yeah.
And the body flips out of the casket and does a swish right into the sewer system.
Yes.
It's like a just.
Boom. Yeah.
Right, and the as the body's flipping through the air, that's actually a female stunt artist. Yes.
Why are you laughing?
in the
'Cause I was
boxer
like,
shorts and everything.
They could have just put a mannequin like flap.
Yes, but then it's not going to look quite
like-
right. But then once you're inside the manhole, of course, that's visual effects, which is kind
Yeah.
of like the opening of the movie there with the rain coming in. That's all digital. Yeah.
So now, after that, basically a lawyer is introducing us by reading the will of Papa Schmuntz, that he is introducing us to our main characters of Ernie and Lee?
Lars.
Lars.
Lee is
the actor.
name, yeah.
Thank you. Right? Which
Yes,
Lee, okay.
It's Nathan Lane as Ernie,
Right.
And Lee Evans as Lars.
Evans. Okay, yeah.
Lee Evans is like, over here, nobody knows who he is. In England, he is like the biggest comedian they've got. He sells out the O2 Arena.
Really?
Like this,
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Okay, because there is. I was reading reviews for we do a review section at the end here,
Yeah.
and somebody praised Lee Evans beyond. Like, I don't think I added it because I was just like, this is
Yeah,
weird.
what? Yeah.
But somebody was like, Lee Evans is the best comedian I've ever seen in the world, and I'm over here being like,
really? Based
he
on this?
really likes something about Mary.
Wow.
Because yes,
That's just not right one, but okay.
Lee Evans is also for Americans
Yeah.
is the guy who's pretending to be crippled in Something About Mary. Who's like, I love
Yeah.
her, man. Yeah.
He's a very
Gosh.
physical kind of comedian. And yeah, when I was living in England for the year, people were much more impressed over there by the fact that I'd worked on this movie than they are here.
Okay, because
They're like, oh my God, Mousehunt. And here
I
people
would
are like,
say it, and they'd
"What?"
be like, "Oh my God, I love that movie!" Like, really? Because back home, no one's even heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm over here being like, oh man, I'm doubly annoyed because not only am I listening to Timon the whole movie, but I'm also dealing with this guy. Yeah, like no, Lee to me just seems he seems annoying.
I loved him. I really did.
I mean,
But,
he's squirrely, but I couldn't put my finger on what he actually reminded me of more, like another actor. And I
Yeah.
felt like he was playing a caricature of some other actor that I know, but I cannot place my finger on it. But either way, these are two brothers who, like I said in the beginning of the show, is basically Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
yes, that was an inspiration for them.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
like full on? Okay. That makes sense. Because also, and I do remember watching Laurel and Hardy back in the
Yeah.
day, probably more than the Stooges.
Oh, definitely for me, because I hate the Three Stooges.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
but I'm female.
And it
We
just seemed
generally hate them.
smarter. Yeah. And they definitely got that right too, where like Lars is definitely more bumbling,
Right.
And Ernie is definitely more conniving and
Yes.
kind of like wants to be more fancy than the other. Like that,
Right.
definitely Laurel and Hardy
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
One is it's Pinky in the Brain.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was that too. Yes.
Yeah. And so they're read out their will, and the will mentions that, hey, you get the string factory, in which Ernie's like, oh great, a failing string factory.
Right.
And Lars is ever the optimist and is like, we can make it work. And they are also given the deed to this house, which was worth $50,000 when he bought it back in the 20s, and is still worth $50,000 now.
I mean, it's
yeah.
50,000 more than they had before.
This is
Yeah.
true.
Like,
This is
you
true.
should still
Yes.
look at the upside of that. They
Right.
got a house.
Well, at this point, Ernie has a job, though.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
real.
so he
Yeah.
has a very successful French restaurant, and so successful that the mayor himself is coming to eat at his restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So the mayor shows up with his wife and his two daughters, and the press is all around being like, "Ooh, how'd you get the mayor to?" I'm like, I don't know. He just wanted to eat there. Like, there's such a big
Hadn't
to
he
do.
just? I think he just won re-election or something like that. They
Okay.
say something in there. I can't
He
remember,
had
but yeah.
it was a big night for him.
Yeah,
so everyone was
yeah.
already following him
You just
around.
won the election.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm going to Shea Ernie's.
Well, what else would you do? You know, of course.
I don't know.
In that town, whatever town that is.
In that town, in that Depression era, or actually current era, I can't
I
tell.
was reading something about it, and it was like it took inspiration from the 1920s all the way up to the 1990s, and I was like, that's a very wide time
Yes.
frame to
Yes, it
take
is.
inspiration from,
It
because
does-
a lot happened.
It does kind of come in and out of time periods, it seems. Yes, in the production design and everything.
I cannot tell. Like, when I'm in the house, I'm like, oh, it's just the house that's old. But then there's a car that'll pull up, and then it's like
Right.
straight from like 1950.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And then
what?
another one from 1970.
Yeah.
And another one from 1990. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, people just keep their cars a long time?
which
is cool. Yeah,
it's fine, I guess.
just weird.
Yeah,
a little indistinct.
Because I also can't. I believe that, especially looking at the Rube Goldberg machine of a string factory, I also am like, I guess this is like right after the Depression. Like,
yeah,
it everything just looks like the machine itself looks like it's made out of like wood, like it's Patch from like the Santa Claus movie, just like making toys. And so
the factory, by the way, the factory, by the way, is the what does it say on it? Now I can't even think. There's it's a big brick factory that's right next to the 5 freeway in Los Angeles, just past the 10.
Is it the one that has the word brewery on the
yes,
smokestack?
It is brewery.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
the factory.
I don't know how I know that.
Interior and exterior. Yes, well.
Oh,
you see it all the time when you drive by.
All right, here we go, guys. Coming this summer, we're going to be doing bad movie tours. We're just going to take you
That
all
would be
the
awesome.
things. Hey, look at this shitty factory.
That place has been used in everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're
They're
like,
constantly filming there. So.
we'll start with something from a bad movie, and
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, oh, you're not impressed? Okay. Also, it was Jaws. It was this. It was that.
Yeah.
You're like,
there was
oh,
more.
thank God.
Yeah.
I would totally go on a bad movie location tour. I think that
That'd
would be
fun.
awesome.
Yeah. We'll work on it.
boy.
Yeah. Now we
Oh no,
Oh,
another
no.
project.
started here. I know that feeling, man. Like, ugh, then another idea.
I just feel like Ernie in the movie, like dollar signs just flashed in my mind. Right?
So then also Lars has a meeting, right? With
Yes.
some
Possible buyers for the
and it's like
string
a big
factory.
company.
Yeah.
They want it and they want to turn it
They
into
want to do twine.
Yeah.
Right.
Or not string. Like
Yes.
basically they're like, this is stronger than string.
Yes,
and
because
it's like,
it's the future.
right.
Yeah.
They're like, which also confused me because they're like, let us take your factory into the 21st century. I'm like, in what, 70 years? Like,
tomorrow. What's happening?
yeah. Is it actually 97? Like, is it about to happen? I don't know.
But he turns it down because he looks at a piece of string that his dad gave him and was like, "We're all tied together." What was the saying?
Well,
What did they say?
Either way, the will was like, I give to you my beloved first piece of string, and I
Right.
want the two of you to share,
Yes.
like in the factory and share it together as symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's holding on to it because Ernie doesn't care, and he holds that, and he's like, no, it's not for sale, right? So yes, he goes to his wife. And is like, you be proud of me. I stood up for myself today. And she's like, are you serious? Like, you wouldn't sell it? That's the only reason I've been hanging around. And she kicks him out. Doesn't move out. She kicks him out.
Yes.
Right? It's also not implied.
Lars.
What's that?
Poor Lars.
Oh, poor. Yeah.
I don't feel bad for him.
So as this was all happening at Shea Ernie's, the mayor,
And his twin daughters and wife.
That's right.
Right.
He orders the lobster. And it gets brought out. Meanwhile, which I didn't, I actually rewatched this film for our recording here, and I didn't notice before that basically the box of cigars that his father gave him is what has the cockroach inside the box.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It crawls out.
yeah, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just
yeah,
in
it's
the
like
kitchen.
a lobster salad, so it crawls into that, so you don't see it.
Right.
Because it's in a salad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading some reviews of it, or like overviews, plot synopsises.
Synopses, I think. That's what I'm going
I
with.
was like, all right. I was like, I don't know English. I'm not an Englishologist.
Synopsis.
Englishologist.
The ology jokes, they always win.
We actually got a laugh on one of our ology jokes in real time.
We make them all the
I
time.
liked
It's so
it.
dumb. But
It's just verb and ologist all the
Yes,
time.
it always works. You'll always make me laugh with one of those.
so the mayor takes a bite of his salad. He he takes a bite and then he has half a cockroach left.
Yes.
Right. So in this plot synopsis, though, it says Yeah, that is it.
Yes.
It's because it was single.
Move on,
Singular.
dictionary.
Yeah. It said that he was poisoned by a cockroach and it gave him a heart attack.
That would be a difficult thing to
I know, and I
poison somebody
was
with
like-
a cockroach. It's more a
It's like there was no
sudden
poison in it.
shock
Yeah.
of
I
having
was like,
eaten a cockroach.
Where
that
were you
would do
reading
it.
the synopsis?
synopsis.
I can't remember if it was IMDb or Wikipedia.
Well, because IMDb, that's user-created synopsis.
Well, so
it was
Wikipedia,
probably someone
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's somebody's like,
I think it was poison.
I think this is how poisoning works.
Cockroaches are poisonous to eat, though, apparently.
Now we know.
Apparently you haven't seen Temple of Doom. So, yeah.
Has a heart attack.
Yeah, chokes on it, has a heart attack, and now, because of that, Ernie is ruined.
Right.
And immediately has lost his restaurant and is working in a regular diner.
Yeah.
Well,
like
the mayor, so he gets taken outside, but then has a second heart attack and dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a movie
He's
who,
just
As
done.
his wife shouts, "Not again!"
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, what the heck, man?
This is a movie that not only has no concept of time within our timeline, it has no concept of time in general, because this incident happens and Lars at the same time gets kicked out of his house and goes to a diner and immediately sees Ernie working behind the
Yes,
regular
I
counter.
really hadn't thought about that, but you're
Right?
absolutely right. It is
So
immediate.
fast.
And
Yes.
also, later on, when Ernie takes out a mortgage on the house for renovations, within 2 scenes, the house is ready to be foreclosed. This movie does not know how long things are between times. It's just and then the only time when it's acceptable, when they actually do the remodeling of the house later on,
Right.
That's the only time where I'm like, montage. It works.
Right.
There's no other montages when this stuff happens.
Well, time is an illusion.
Lunchtime, doubly so.
Yeah. I just sat down.
So, yes, Lars is kicked out of the house, goes to this diner, finds Ernie working behind the counter, and the two of them decide that they don't want to be homeless because, for some reason, I guess Ernie is homeless.
Who wants to be?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where did Ernie live before this? Did he
don't-
live at the restaurant?
That's
don't
what I mean
know.
about no concept
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah, but even if
Because-
his restaurant got closed down, he would still have the building, right?
I guess he just lost everything, so he's broke and maybe had to move out of his
Or was
apartment.
he
Let's
so
just say he had an
embarrassed?
apartment. I don't know.
He sold all of his belongings. Did he
Could
not
be.
have a bank account? What's
Yeah,
going
I don't
on?
know.
I don't-
This is these. Yeah.
I'm very confused.
I try not to look at the movie quite that closely, but
Well,
these are very good
it
points.
happens. Sometimes it happens, and I'm like, oh no, I'm thinking too hard.
Try analyzing the new Jurassic Park with Jared and see how that goes.
Oh, I get
haven't seen it
into it. I love that movie.
I'm so far behind on
I've
movies
seen it
right
twice.
now.
He's hung
Wow.
on every word. Anything that people's like, well, what about the volcano? He's like, well, actually, bitch.
You get very defensive about it.
So yeah, this is what we do.
I love it.
It's not fun sometimes though, because even I get like, why don't people just enjoy movies?
Yes, exactly.
But that's why, I
But then
fight
forgets-
critiques. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you're thinking too much about it. But if you
Right,
actually
right.
thought about it harder
look,
than you are,
for this show, we are nitpicking this movie
Yeah.
like this. But when you watch it, you just watch it.
yeah,
It's fun.
exactly.
You know,
It's not until I actually talk with people that I'm like, oh, hold on. But then I do try and make sense
Right,
of it.
yeah.
Because I want to
Yeah.
at least, I want to make movies make sense.
yeah.
But sometimes you just can't.
no.
Every once in a
You
while,
just can't with
Some
mouse.
movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
every once in a
You
while,
can't. I'll be honest, you can't.
we mousetrap ourselves into a corner.
As long as you don't mouse hunt yourself into a corner, you're fine.
So
I'm not sure what the difference is.
no, well, one is letting the traps do
One
the work.
in one there's a
is
predator,
being
yeah.
proactive. Yeah. So they go, hey, we both have this rundown shack in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's a roof over our head during Christmas time. It's cold, right? Which I'm like,
Right, is there I do enjoy as they're walking down the street and everything is home. There's, if there's the homeless guy, if
That
I had
was
a
a
home,
cute
I'd
scene,
sleep in
yeah.
it, and then the choir is singing I'll be home for Christmas, and then the cake is like a welcome home thing which has the house, and there's it's very sweet.
I've seen The Omen.
Yeah.
That's
That's right.
premonitions.
Everything's pointing them to the
Yeah.
home.
So, they decided to go there, and by the end of the night, they try to chase this mouse that they hear, and it leads them to the attic in which they discover the blueprints for this house.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
did they find the blueprints in a wall?
No.
In the attic.
In the-
So basically, they were in an attic, and then
Well, they were trying. The
There was
mouse
more attic?
Oh,
yes,
that's a
exactly.
good, yeah.
Yes. There's
That was the
it's a double attic.
the anti-attic, like an anteroom, an
Yeah.
anti-attic. The hidden attic. I don't know.
the attic of the attic. It's where they said that they found the body of the previous owners.
Okay, I listened to a podcast where someone says they call an attic an they say addict, but then they try and say adtic.
Right.
And it's like they put a D in the word attic, and it infuriates
Yeah,
me.
that would be annoying.
Oh, just like when we put a D into your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's attic, but they're like adtic.
Yeah, that's not
I'm
right.
like, ooh, and that's after they correct themselves from saying attic. That's just me soapboxing. So yeah, they find these things in the extra attic, in the attic's attic, which that confused me. I was like, hold on, okay.
Yeah, and it turns out that the architect of this house is Charles Lyle LaRue.
Yes.
And Charles Lyle LaRue
Founded LuLaRoe,
As we...
the legging company.
Yes.
He was like, houses are great, but I'm really about leggings. I want to be comfortable when I work out.
You know, you have multiple chapters
Moms.
in your life, and that was his next. Yes.
Hey, moms, are you sick and tired of being bored on the couch all day? Come sell a bunch of shit nobody wants to buy. True.
It is.
So deeply true.
Ponzi.
Ponzi. Charles Lou Ponzi.
I've heard about those Punzi schemes. So
Yeah.
you don't want to get mixed up in those.
I know.
No,
They're
but
terrible.
yeah, that's
And they do.
god awful leggings.
They do have neat patterns.
So yeah, it is Charles Lyle LaRue, and he is a famous architect who apparently did over 200 houses that are all coveted by, I don't know,
Architects.
LaRue collectors.
Yeah, collectors. And this house apparently via the blueprints is confirmed as the missing LaRue
Yes.
house. The house that apparently everybody knew he did, but could never find.
It was in Oakdale. I just want to tell you, the house was in Oakdale.
It's been there the whole time, guys.
I don't think it's that hard to misplace a house unless it's a mobile home. But weirder things have happened, I guess.
Right?
Well, I guess it just looked like every other giant Victorian home
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. Yes.
It was right next to Casper's home.
Which is also a LaRue.
Yeah. But confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew about that one.
They were
He's
just
one
like,
of the
"It's
three
haunted, so we
uncles.
don't, yeah.
He's stinky.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, we went for different ones. So close.
So they get it basically appraised and confirm that it is a LaRue. And
LaRue.
I screwed it up. I screwed it up.
That was not your fault.
Okay, I said it right the first time,
You
didn't
did
I?
indeed.
Okay, and then there's this major collector who comes in and pushing his weight around, and he's basically like, I've never paid over $6 million for a home. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like it seems like he's going to be established as a bigger part of this film.
Right.
And he's really not. He's just one of the other bidders,
He's
really.
just there to provide us with that. I've never paid over $6, and they're thinking, what are they thinking, 60,000 or something, whatever, 600,000, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he says millions, and they're like, what?
Right. He's there to give perspective, I guess, for the audience that, like,
Yes,
they could at least
he
get
provides
6.
information. Yes,
If anyone around me ever says anything million,
yes,
like money wise,
Yeah.
and I don't immediately like, just take it, write me the check right now and take it, just punch me in the face because I'm an idiot. If I'm
Yeah.
going to try and be like, well, I'll fix it up.
Especially because,
Like-
okay, they don't know how bad the mouse is
Yeah.
going to terrorize them, but they do know that a mouse exists, and they do know what it looks like. And I'd be like, I don't have the time or effort to deal with the condition that this house is in.
right.
Yeah.
But
You
can
know?
we? I don't remember
Yeah.
where it falls in the movie, but at this point they go to sleep once they find out
Yeah.
that the movie.
Yeah,
that
they
the,
place
that the
one
movie-
mouse
that
trap,
the-
yeah.
Yes. But they go to sleep after they've discovered the
They've ground
value of
plans.
the home.
Or is it?
There's a sequence where they go to bed and yeah, I think that's when they hear the mouse for the first or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. Now I'm confused what order it goes in, but at
Well,
any
they had
rate,
already
it's
heard him
one of
because they
those
chased him.
movies.
That's how they found him. But
yeah.
they placed a mouse trap
That's
in the
right.
middle of the night, and they hear the trap go off in their sleep.
right. So and that wakes them up, right?
No, they just they wake up for a second
And they go,
yeah.
So
Okay.
it is,
and then they wake
yeah.
up the next
But
morning.
There was a scene cut from the
Okay.
script at that point because when they go to sleep and they've got this information that this house is worth so much money, they both had dream sequences in the original screenplay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bombs Away's Deep Cut.
And this was what I am convinced was what got Nathan Lane to do the movie. And then it got cut almost immediately before we even went into production.
They were like, how do we trick him into the movie?
Right.
It's springtime for Hitler.
Because it kind of has Nathan Lane written all over it. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was this big, they both have the same song running in their dreams. Of course, it was We're in the Money. And so here's where
I can see him singing it. We're in the money.
Right. Oh man, I'm dropping stuff all over the floor. So this is where I have some of I brought some, visual aids because it's a podcast.
Oh wow.
And,
Okay. I'm
We'd
going
love to
to
show
take
you
pictures
things.
of these later.
Yes, you'll have to tape it. Hold on, I got to get them out of here, and I can't.
Let's move this.
Yeah,
What,
put
you don't
the
want me to
liquid-
spill water all over your board?
No.
I think
So-
that might be Old Sprite, to be honest.
So this is an image that was from Lars's dream of the updated,
Months.
well-lit Smuntz String Factory.
Ah,
Looks
And
very
this is
modern and exciting,
all
isn't it?
original
Money
concept
1940s.
art, right?
Yes.
This is all concept art?
Yes.
Wow.
This is concept art. I got this. I don't
We've
know, out of
never
the
been so enamored with a bad movie.
I got this out of the trash somewhere along the line. I kept finding things in the trash and saying, "Can I have this?" And people would say, "Yeah," and
Oh,
I'd be
wow.
like, "Well, yeah." And then this is a drawing of Ernie's dream sequence, which was a big restaurant Busby Berkeley number with dancers and
It's
and
like a better
everything.
version of the Shining restaurant.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it was all kind of, I don't know, 1940s style, but
Sure.
yeah, but it was
Right.
a whole big song and dance kind of number, and
Yeah.
cut immediately because imagine how much that was going to cost.
yeah.
So
And
Just
they already had to pay for your
Keep
budget.
them in the shitty
yes,
house.
right. They had to pay for me
You
and
came
my
with the
PA budget
huge
on
money
the whole
tag.
thing. Yes, here's a shot. Here's a picture of the house as
See,
well.
that's so
in
cool,
disrepair.
too.
Yes.
They
I wish
got
I
it
could
right.
do
I mean,
art.
that's pretty accurate to what the house looks like too.
Yeah.
Yes, I have this one of the string factory. I think this is at the end when it's maybe the cheese. I don't know. It's
The
because
string
it's
cheese
white. I
factory,
can't
that
tell
is
which
I
nice.
point
still
that's
remember
at.
the string doing that.
Yeah,
though.
maybe the opening.
This is all visual. This is visual,
There's a
folks.
person
So you
down
have
there, is that-
anybody listening is like, I don't know anymore.
And now reference Instagram post.
yes.
Yes.
And I promise I'll post.
And then here's one of the we'll get to this
Yeah.
scene later, but there's like a little town square
Oh,
kind of a
that's the
scene.
meeting,
Yes,
yeah.
this is where you get a very Laurel and Hardy scene in this. But yes, so those are some little bits of
Awesome.
artwork that I saved.
Promise I'll post it on Instagram.
We'll see.
Okay, I'll make sure you do.
Yes.
I'll take pictures of it if I have to. If
Excellent.
we forget.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Recently, I know I did. Sorry, folks.
That's just gonna go
putting
down
it out
Yeah, it's
there.
all right.
I know we've been talking a lot about the clips and stuff I've been putting on Instagram. Well, the source in which I get my movies to edit and clips kind of went down. So,
Bummer.
sorry.
What'd you break?
Support your local pirates.
I like pirates.
Yeah. But I promise, as soon as they get up and running again, you'll get more clips and things like that. We've been just low on clips, honestly, and it's getting harder and harder to pull from YouTube as well. So, whoops.
So
I was wondering how you did all that.
Yeah.
It was very impressive while it lasted.
Thank you.
so our big cheese comes in. He offers or says he's never paid less than $6 million,
Right.
and then Ernie comes up with a plan to fight back, and he says, "Well, we're gonna fix it up, and there's gonna be an auction in 3 days or something." What does he say?
Yeah,
like way too short of a time frame to
some
ever
crazy amount of
rehab a
time.
house.
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, they don't even do that on like HGTV.
So,
What happens after? Then
Okay.
they make it their mission to kill the mouse,
Right.
instead of rehab the house.
So So the mouse himself, just kind of wants to do mouse things.
he wants to take a nap in his little cute
He
bed.
lives in the
Yes,
wall.
yes.
Yep. He has a postcard of Hawaii, so that's where he wants to go.
Yeah.
Apparently, and
All mice do, don't they?
yeah, not now. Jeez.
They're like, it's a bit too hot.
Yeah, true.
So, this is where Lars decides it's time to put some molding on the wall right adjacent to where his little home is, and nails are just shooting through the wall, and the mouse is ducking them and running out of the way. and then a nail almost hits him in the last moment.
Pretty stressful scene, really.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the mouse is just sitting there, and like
He's
thinks
stuck,
he's stuck, and he thinks the final nail's just gonna hit him right in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of graphic.
This is one of those scenes where a character's running directly away from the trouble, and it's like, just double back real quick. You'll be okay.
Right. Yeah, but he's a mouse.
But he's
Yeah,
he's
he
in a
was.
panic. Come
Well,
on.
it's-
Do you think clearly when you're in a panic?
But,
Yeah.
but he knows how to build a sandwich.
This just
is true.
stems from Twister was playing on the TV the other day, and I was like, just turn right and run that direction. How are you running the same
I
path that
love
the tornado
Twister.
is
I
going?
love Twister.
He's
I
like,
do.
oh
Yes.
God, it's coming our way, and go the other way.
Turn.
Yeah.
Gosh.
What a boring movie that would
Yeah.
be.
And then they were okay.
It's just called Run. So after this, Ernie decides that he wants to add things to the house that, in my opinion, I'm like, no, that would ruin it being a LaRue. Or LaRue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
He wants to add a hot tub jacuzzi.
Well, these aren't cultured men. I mean, they don't know.
Right.
They figure, jacuzzi ups the value. Yeah.
It's like one of our good family friends. He is a mid-century modern realtor. And so my parents will do walkthroughs of the houses that he's selling and stuff. And so they'll just go in and then they'll come back and they'll be like, they gutted the inside and made it what it is now.
Yes.
They get so upset with it
Yeah.
because like mid-century modern, like the inside needs to be what it originally was.
yeah.
Otherwise it
Built-ins.
doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't look good if you change the inside of a mid-century modern because it's
Right.
got that open air stuff. But then it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Don't change plans.
So they're carrying the jacuzzi up the steps. The mouse is at the top of the steps. And this is the thing is like, I don't... Sometimes
There's still
they're
a cardboard
scared.
cutout in it, right?
Yes,
Yes,
he goes,
of
they
a
throw
woman
in the
in the
cardboard
tub.
cutout.
Yeah.
Um,
Because who doesn't want that?
well,
Yeah.
I'm confused because sometimes they get scared by the mouse and sometimes not.
Right.
It like literally depends on
if
the
he
need of the scene.
If he startles you, maybe.
I guess so.
I'm trying to justify it.
Yeah.
You're pulling like a me card where I'm like, well, actually, you're only afraid of a mouse if it's on like Tuesdays.
I mean, if you were carrying a jacuzzi up a set of stairs and
Yeah.
suddenly there was a mouse on the banister, you might go, whoa, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, if it's a scorpion.
A mouse, I'd be like, ah, crap.
But either way, it causes them to drop the tub onto the stairs, and they wind up as the tub is sliding down the stairs, they wind up falling into the tub basin itself and riding it all the way down.
As you do.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm like, who gets scared by a mouse? But I'm like, this is all going to happen.
Yeah. It's slapstick.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it slides across the frozen pond, and then they fall into said frozen pond,
Yep.
in which they died. Movie's over. Like,
Hypothermia set in, and
which is one of two times that at least one of them is in that pond. I'm
Yes.
like, you are dead.
Yeah.
The rest of this movie is the seven minutes
Well,
that
I've
you die
fallen
in
into
the
a
pond.
frozen creek before. You don't die.
Well, but it was
in a frozen lake.
Yeah. Well, frozen creek. It was up to like my
But
boobage.
see, they were all the way down
What?
inside,
Yeah, they were
and
really
how
far
did
down.
and that was a big frozen lake.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get out of it across
Right?
the ice?
Because
Well, then I had to
without
walk home in
anybody
the
there
snow,
to
so that felt bad.
Ooh, boy.
No, we all have heard like that's how people go. Like you get
Yes.
disoriented, you can't find the hole.
Yes, even if you find the hole, how do you get back to the how do you get back to the shore?
Not gonna say it.
So they go back in and they decide to lay a whole bunch of traps all over the kitchen.
Yes, I was waiting to get to this scene. Yeah.
Okay. And they basically, not literally, figuratively paint themselves into a corner.
Yes.
Because the
They
door.
trap themselves in a corner.
There you go. The door that they try to use is locked from that side, and they are now in the corner. Like they've trapped themselves in a corner.
With
Wait.
what looks like hundreds of traps
It's
set
locked.
across the floor.
Does the door
I don't understand this.
It
They
locks
could
from
have
the
just-
outside,
Yeah,
okay?
They could have
Just
just
roll with it.
actually made them actually into a corner, but for some reason they
There's
needed
a
to have a
door.
door too. I don't know.
Oh.
Right?
They wanted to give him a little bit of hope.
Sure. So they fall asleep against the wall, and now it's morning, and then the mouse decides that it wants
To be
some
an
breakfast
acrobat.
or something,
Right.
right?
So I made some notes.
And this
in
was
watching
all
it
a
there.
stunt mouse.
Well, almost all almost all a stunt mouse. So when he
So the
swings,
mouse and the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Remember that? Does anybody else remember that?
I do remember.
Yes.
Stuart Little?
No, but
No.
that's that too.
I
Yeah.
did work for a month on Stuart Little as well.
Ralph S.
And I
Mouse.
worked for Disney, so mice
Yeah.
are a running theme in my life.
And they're all over the house. I can't
I'm
deal with
pleased
it.
to say my most recent project was a cat.
Oh, there we go.
Pete the cat. As he swings across the light cord, obviously that's a CGI mouse because you can't get any mouse to grab a light cord and swing. But then there's a shot where he walks along a flower stem and then kind of hops across, and that was planned as CGI because there's no way you're going to get a mouse to do that. They actually managed to train a real mouse to do that. So that
is so
a genuine
cool.
real mouse when you see it. And everybody was astounded. It's like, what do you mean you trained him to do that? That's amazing. So that was the genuine article.
I can only imagine how everyone reacted when the mouse was just like do 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 do.
Right.
Everyone's like, "Oh my god."
Yes, I wasn't on
It did
set
it.
when
What?
I wasn't on set when it happened, but I definitely heard about it immediately afterward because they're like, "We take that one off the CGI list. He did it! My God, he did it!"
Put him on the lamp string.
like-
We'll see if he can do that too. I don't know.
Gore. There was no film in the camera.
You fired.
So the mouse winds up setting off the traps, and instead of just avoiding them, I don't know, they freak out and then roll into the trap.
That seems like every movie where they're like, "Let's do the mousetrap gag."
Yeah.
Yes.
They're like, they just always somehow are like, "Ouch," and just keep rolling through
right.
it. Like, just don't move.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. Come on, who doesn't love to see people get hurt by mousetraps?
And I mean, to truly enjoy this film, which I mean, I did as a kid. You have to suspend believability.
Yeah, of course you do.
But where would the jokes be then?
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
true.
For us.
Right.
So yeah, there is that trope of like, oh no, I get hit by one. I've got to jump into all of them now.
Right.
And that forces them to chase the mouse around. They start chasing him around with a vacuum cleaner. And I guess, the architect is a really crappy architect because
So to speak.
put the sewage, there's a sewage line with an open valve directly into the wall where the mouse hole is.
It's a broken pipe, right? Is
Is it broken?
Yes,
Because I didn't
think
see
so.
any pipe like lying on the floor
I'm
next
just
to it.
gonna say it was broken.
Okay.
It's an old house. It's broken down.
Okay. All right.
So there's an open pipe for some reason.
Okay.
It came apart. I don't know.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. I did not see the other pipe laying there. I just saw an open. They focused.
things
They
happen.
zoomed in on like an open sewage pipe
Yes.
that looked like it was already dripping poo.
I thought, didn't the mouse open it up?
No. It was just there. If anything,
Yeah,
they
it was-
knocked it loose, but
Yeah.
they didn't really
Yeah.
show that
Yeah.
happening. But the vacuum cleaner starts sucking into that tube, and they're
Yes,
like, "Oh,
'cause
I
the
think
mouse,
we got him."
like kind of the
Poop
mouse
tube.
does make sure it
Yeah,
gets,
okay,
like,
that's what it is. Because I was like, I swear a
he's the
mouse
one who
like did
connects
something
the
with
two.
the pipe.
Somehow he
Yeah.
connects the two. Yes, and that is an animatronic mouse in the
yeah.
the sewage.
you can't train 'em
line
all.
thing. Yeah,
I like the way he looks.
Yeah.
How big was the animatronic?
I actually never saw the animatronic
Okay.
in person, but there is one scene. It's later in the movie. I'll probably mention it again when we get there. But there was one that was a CGI mouse that we called the warthog. It was the warthog shot because he looks more like a warthog than a mouse. So if you look carefully, I'll bring it
Okay.
up when it comes up. But
Sure.
you'll be like, my God, that doesn't look anything like a mouse.
So this is where they suck a vacuum full of poop.
Yep.
And it winds up getting to capacity, exploding all over them.
Which is far and away my dad's favorite scene in this movie. Any kind of poop joke, you can't go wrong.
Loving it. More.
That's poop.
He laughs right out loud with that
Cheryl,
one.
you worked on this thing. Why didn't you tell him more poop? You know I like poop. This is when someone from the bank nails a foreclosure sign on the door, and the movie has no concept of how long it's been going on for, like, this entire process, because they're like, what do you mean we're foreclosed? And he's like, you took money out to do these repairs, and now you haven't paid. And he's like, how long do we have till we paid? He goes, 5 days from yesterday. And so, like, they're already going to
just say
auction
4 days.
the house. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But also, they're going to
5
auction
days
the house.
from yesterday's tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, you can't nail a sign and then 3 days later be like, you're out.
Yeah.
Like, that's just normal renter stuff nowadays. Like, you have 24 hours to vacate, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen. Whatever. I don't know.
It's a movie.
It was 1930, I guess. It was a different
or
time.
something.
But
maybe they were having a mortgage crisis or something. I don't know their universe.
So, as this is happening, they decide, they're like, okay, instead of focusing on that, we still got to get rid of this mouse.
Right.
So they hire
Priorities.
Christopher Walken.
Yes, they do.
Which might be my favorite thing in the movie.
Yes.
Christopher Walken's my favorite thing because he's like, to hunt the mouse, like, you've got to understand the mouse.
Was Catzilla before or after Christopher?
After.
Okay.
As far as no, you're right. No,
yeah, I was going to say,
it's
it's before in my notes. Yes.
Yeah, it's before.
No, you do not want to miss Catzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's right.
The walking box.
Yeah. They go to this like
Pound?
animal shelter or pound or whatever.
Humane
Pound,
Society?
yes.
Yeah, no, it's
not very
inhumane.
humane.
It's inhumane
Society.
society because there's a kid being dragged out because I guess her mom took their family pet to get gassed, and
I forgot about that.
Right?
It's like, oh, that's right.
Every single one of the workers is in like a nuclear bomb shelter suit.
Yes.
And it's for like so that they can gas the animals, and I'm like, what place is this?
Yes, it's pretty. Yeah, they gas those suckers right away.
Dark
man.
times.
Because you would think, like if they're in this like cruel prison of a humane society, you would think that they're gonna go save a cat, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, but no, this is a world where that's also a bad place. They're gonna get a bad cat from a bad place,
Right.
So they get the meanest junkyard cat you could ever find.
Right,
It's Jack Bauer from Sunny.
That they've already gassed multiple times and he hasn't died.
Right?
Yes, so.
And that
It
the
only
workers
made him
named
stronger.
Yeah.
Yes.
The workers named Catzilla. And so they bring him home, and Catzilla doesn't even bother getting out of its box. It just punches through the box with all four legs and starts walking around.
And I'm going to be honest, the visual effects on that did not age well.
Oh no.
No, they didn't. I'm like, you say it. I don't want to say
I was
it.
not personally responsible for the effect happening. Just, I just tracked everything. So
It's
You're like, not my fault. Not my fault.
the box thing is for the joke, but it doesn't like hold up, and I'd just rather it be the cat.
yeah.
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 Like I'd rather it turn into the Tom and Jerry that it feels like it was going for,
Right.
but doesn't really reach that level.
Yeah.
Because the cat is mostly animatronic, like unless it's
well, it's a
running
real
around, right?
Yeah, it's a real cat when it's running around, but yeah, there was animatronic in
Every
the
time
box and everything,
yeah.
and then visual effects as well. So.
anytime it does a shot of its face, it's clearly a puppet.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Meow."
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's like a cat on like drugs. It's just like, hey.
Well, it has been gassed multiple
That's right.
times.
He's not supposed to be a normal cat by
No,
any means.
seriously, it's like it's got like watery, glassy eyes. Like, hey, got any crack?
Yeah. This is a cat you do not want to mess with.
Oh gosh.
And so typical Tom and Jerry stuff, even down to they chase each other through the insides of a piano as the piano
bling,
like
bling,
plays
Right, yes.
and the keys
That's a
bounce
classic
all around.
cartoony thing, yeah.
Which I love that. I
Yeah.
love Tom and Jerry, and when Bugs and a Mouse do it in and Merry Melodies. That's one of my favorite bits from any of those cartoons. I think even Mickey did it in Disney style.
Sure, yeah.
Like it was the whole I'm going to put on a concert performance and there's a mouse inside my piano.
Right.
Like it's a good bit. But all those kind of Tom and Jerry things happen, but only what sucks is that the film doesn't really focus on that. It keeps bouncing between that and everything that Ernie and Lars are doing on the outside to try to get money. So like Lars is trying to do a speech to the factory workers saying, we're not going to pay you this week or maybe next week either because we need money for our own personal things. And then those people riot. Meanwhile, Ernie is doing his thing and like flirting with some girls on a bus, or like not on a bus, but on a bus stop.
Yes, in the little town square near the
Right.
bus. Yes, near the bus stop. Yes.
And
But now we've skipped Caesar. So.
But just meaning they
Okay, yes.
things are happening there, and
Yes.
it's not really Catzilla isn't the focus because it keeps jumping and
Right.
cutting away.
Right.
I don't remember what happens to the cat, honestly.
It dies.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. In the dumbwaiter. Yes.
Oh,
he
yeah,
ends
the
up in
dumbwaiter,
dumbwaiter, and it crashes
yeah.
like an elevator idea. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And
But
we
that's
we
when-
presume that he was killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor cat.
Poor Catzilla.
But that's when Ernie has reignited his deal, and that's what he's supposed to be doing in Town Square, right?
Yes.
Re-
yes.
yeah.
He's waiting for those two guys.
And he's like, I'll be wearing a hat.
He's going to try to sell to the guys that Lars turned down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But he's too busy flirting.
Yes.
And
in
then-
very Oliver Hardy style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
With his hat and
he
everything.
does the
doing
tie
hat.
thing.
Yes, and the hat thing. And like, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, he does the tie wave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because who isn't turned on by that?
Just use your hand.
So then he steps up to go and approach them across the street, and boom, gets hit by a bus.
Yes, he does.
Who hasn't?
Right?
I mean,
Isn't that how it always
It's-
goes?
right?
I was going to meet my future husband, but then I got hit by a bus. So. Happens to the best of
And
us.
then what happened on Final Destination?
Yeah.
Yeah, to Michelle Williams. She was just like, you could just drop
Drop
dead.
dead.
Boom. Yeah.
Yep.
That's actually the best scare in the whole movie.
That was.
I saw a woman actually get hit by a bus in London. Yeah, she was fine.
A
Oh,
double
okay.
decker?
It was okay. Don't
was
worry.
it a double decker?
It was a double decker.
Yes. So it was double the fun.
And I understood why it happened because it was a really weird pedestrian crossing with like two levels. I mean, it was just, I don't know, it shifted
Wait,
in the
there was
middle of
two
the street.
levels of-
Not one above the other, but it was like you crossed in one spot and then had to move kind of over and then the
Oh.
second. So when
Okay.
you looked, the lights, it had two different lights, one to go to the middle
Yeah.
and one to
Well,
go to
one
the
to go
other
to the
side.
top of the bus. And one to go to the bottom.
So I could see why she stepped off when she shouldn't have. But yeah, there was a bus right there, and it just like kind
Wow.
of threw her up a little and over. And I was like, "Holy shit!"
Did her shoes
she was-
fly off?
No,
Okay.
Fortunately,
Well,
and
then.
she seemed to be
Wasn't
okay.
that
Well,
hard.
then
So-
she's fine. Your
Yeah.
shoes don't come off.
All's well
You're
that-
going to live.
If she died, I wouldn't have told the story. So
At least not the full story.
well, you don't know us too well.
Anything
I
goes.
would have tried
Yeah.
to scrub it from my brain if she
Yeah.
died. So
So
dark memories.
he got hit by a bus, but he's okay.
yes.
Moving
He goes
on.
to the hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
he's okay. They're like, he's going to be okay. Because he is okay. Because then they hire Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no problem. But Christopher Walken, as I said, is an exterminator who is very like great white hunter of the
Yes,
mouse.
he has a rather Ghostbusters look. To
Yeah.
him.
He does.
Yes,
He
yes.
definitely does. But with a Wayne Zielinski like kind of magnifying glass hat,
Yeah.
and then he has his hijinks very much just like a Looney Tunes film where he's gonna run all this cable through the house to try to find the mouse and hook it up to the winch in his car, but it's also attached to him somehow.
Yeah, that whole setup, I'm not quite sure how that works, but
That was
it
real
makes sense to
confusing.
Caesar,
Yeah.
maybe not to us.
Yeah, no.
Caesar's a little off anyway, so
Well,
I
it
think
was-
it's okay that he's,
It was the camera had to be set up to his van for some reason.
On the winch? Or what? Or did the mouse?
Yeah.
No, the mouse dragged it through. That's
yes,
right.
that's
he
right. The
dragged
mouse set
through
it up to
house.
the. I
Right?
don't know, somehow to the winch. Yeah.
Somehow, because I don't know about you, but when I try to pull cable, like it hits its first corner, and I'm like,
Oh, God,
a very
difficult.
strong mouse.
Yeah. That
And
mouse is superhuman.
I want to point out there is the point where Caesar's like under the table and he finds some droppings.
oh yeah.
He pops one in
Yes.
his mouth so
Snack.
he can tell what he can tell what it's been eating by tasting the mouse poop. But when on television, when the movie's shown on TV, they
Yeah.
edit that out
Like it's too terrible.
We don't want kids eating the mouse
yes,
poop.
you know.
But that's kind of also when we get our first taste. Sorry,
Oh.
our first taste of the mouse having like a pretty fancy cuisine that it
Yes,
eats because he's
yes.
like oregano. Like he's like
Yeah.
listing off ingredients where it's like that's not mouse food.
Yeah.
Like
Yep, it's Ratatouille before Ratatouille.
Yeah.
That's right.
And with a mouse. Mouse-tatouille. And so then, after this, the mouse, like I said, takes the cable and runs it all through the house and attaches it to the exterminator's winch. And then he's like, no, please don't. And he hits the winch and he goes tearing through the house, pretty much destroying
That is
the
a hair.
house.
That is a hair trigger on that winch. By
Yeah.
the way, if the
Yeah.
weight of a mouse can trigger it, yeah.
I
Maybe
just
get a better winch.
God forbid it rains when that
Right?
winch is active.
Right, or a branch falls on it or something.
The wind
or-
blows.
Yeah, just pow. Yeah. He
Yeah.
should have
Very
seen that
unsafe,
coming, man.
Christopher. Come on.
So as this is happening, Lars is back at the factory and he gets his clothes stuck in.
Can I just give you one more
machine?
Christopher Walken
Yeah.
thing before we move to
Oh,
that?
Please.
I
It
will
was
always
just-
take
I
a
said
Christopher
it's the best
Walken.
part.
It was, no, I did not witness this personally, but it was related to me immediately after it happened that the second AD came to Christopher Walken when he was on the set. It was at Raleigh Studios. That's where our offices were based as well. And he said, hello, Mr. Walken, what would you like me to call you while you're on set? Like, what name would you like me to use? And he said, you can call me Flash.
You
I know.
call Flash.
I can't do a good impersonation of Walken, but yes, so that's what he went with.
He's a gift.
You call me.
Which we all enjoyed because the second
Right.
AD was a little bit of an oddball, so we figured that kind of worked, But
They matched up.
yep.
That's awesome. I totally believe it. So then, as this is happening, Lars is at the factory and he gets his clothes stuck in the machinery and
Yes.
torn
And it's
off
like
him.
every direction he turns, a different piece of clothing is being taken off.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
And that kind of doesn't go anywhere other than like he's
Nudity.
naked. Yeah. And he runs upstairs and his wife is waiting for him upstairs in lingerie.
Yes.
Why? Because in a scene during the whole cat thing, and like I said, it kept cutting back to a couple of different things. Apparently the lawyer came looking for Lars at her house and revealed to her what the house is worth and everything. So
Yes, and
she's
so-
back in.
Yes, and so this is where I will point out the other things, the things that were cut.
Okay.
From that director's cut is that character. April, is that her name?
April, yes.
Wow, I got it right. Played by Vicki Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Her character was distinctly altered from the original cut. So in the original cut, there were, I think, 3 different times that people came to the door of the house after Lars had been kicked out. And so every time, like one time in the movie, well, when he comes to and tells her this, she answers the door and she's dressed as a nurse, which
Okay.
doesn't seem to fit with this sort of money grubbing
That's right, she
character,
is.
right? And so,
Like-
and so every time someone came to the door, she was dressed differently. One time she was dressed as a
an
nun.
escort.
And so, well, she just had a boyfriend. So you would hear when they
She
came to
was
the door,
theming it.
you would hear them
Oh.
upstairs role playing, and then she would come to the door in, the nun outfit,
This
in
is
the
that
nurse
dirty stuff,
outfit, and
folks.
whatever. Yes, and so oh yeah, the boyfriend is the one who was later removed from the porch of the house because those scenes got cut. That character was completely out.
There it is, folks. You
Yeah.
update the IMDb trivia right now.
Yeah,
Go out
right?
there.
I saw Incredibles.
I already
too.
did.
No, I submitted an error for Incredibles trivia for the Incredible 2.
Already.
She has
Wow.
her date on Friday, but then he takes his kids to school the next day after the date.
Oh,
Summer school.
it's a special school.
No.
So
Summer school doesn't even operate on Saturdays.
who knows?
In
I
that
don't
town,
know.
it does.
Yeah. So then she basically is, I'm back and I'm going to help pay for the renovations because I want a cut of the house.
Right.
And so at this point, they show because she's in her lingerie and they have sexy time. They show the picture of Papa Schmuntz. right?
Yep.
Okay. I hadn't used the word in like an hour.
It's actually written smunts.
Smuts.
Smunts, but
Smunts?
it's pronounced schmunts a lot of times in the movie. So there is some question in the movie itself whether it's smunts or schmunts.
Okay. So it's not just me.
No.
Yeah.
All right. But the portrait of him that's in the office changes to like a shock and awe face.
Yes.
And in which I went, guys, this factory and all your problems and the mouse, that's not your problems. Like, you have a ghost. Like,
You have a haunted portrait.
He's haunting you.
That's
not good.
He's watching you have sex.
That's your dad.
Ooh.
I Papa Mutts. Keep going. Right? Yeah. So,
How'd they go
Also,
there?
you said it wrong again.
I noticed that, and I didn't point it out.
Nope. Don't. Just go with it, guys. All right. So, and then after this, I wouldn't think that the mouse locked the exterminator in the trunk in the attic, but apparently that's his MO. That's what he did to its previous owners too. I don't know how this was accomplished, but they mention it. They
Yes,
go,
they
we
do,
found him
because
upstairs locked in a trunk.
Because he gets pulled all the way out to the winch of the truck when we last see him. But yes, then they're wheeling him out of the house, and they say that we found him in the attic. Yes, and it's like, well, okay, how do you get him all the way back up into the attic?
I mean,
He's a
and
superhuman mouse.
Super
mouse.
Because what I wrote in my notes was like, one, I wrote, how do you make this like triple decker sandwich? But then I went, wait, no, forget that. How do you drag a human being up into the like trunk of the house? Because that's when they come home and they do find, they're like, look, he's a connoisseur of fancy cheeses and stuff like that. And then that's another thing.
Ernie was very impressed by
Right?
the combination of flavors and things that this mouse had put together
Right?
in the sandwich.
Guys, not the mouse. Papa Schmunt's ghost.
Well, yeah.
That's my theory.
Well, it's a good
He's
theory.
helping them the whole time.
Or
Yeah.
Papa
Ghost.
Schmuntz is the mouse.
Yes, that's a good theory too.
Reincarnated?
Yeah.
But like
And he's trying to
human
teach
strength?
his kids a lesson.
Right.
Yeah. Or he just possessed it.
That's right, because
Yeah.
earlier he was like, you shouldn't talk that way about Pop, and he's like, thanks for nothing, you shrimp sucking son of a bitch.
or something to that effect.
And he's like, he didn't mean that, Pop. Yeah, it's like, yeah. So this is him haunting them.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah, you could be right.
So at that point, there was established by Christopher Walken that he had this like giant bug bomb.
Yes.
Right? And that bug bomb, during him being dragged through the floorboards of the house, dropped off of his belt and into like some of the under the floorboards.
Yes.
Right? And they are now chasing the mouse around with but first wait. He gets stuck in a chimney. I forget. I know he gets stuck in the chimney. Ernie gets stuck in the chimney.
Yes, he does.
Right? And gas is being flooded into the room.
Right, into the chimney.
And then Lars needs to light the match.
Because he can't see.
Right,
he can't see Ernie up there to help him get out of the chimney.
And
Is
of
this
course,
when he had the shotgun?
No,
that comes in a
immediately
bit.
after this, right? So he gets blown out of the chimney back into the pond.
Yes.
Right? Then he's at the bottom of the pond, and like we said, like that's
Back in
way
the
down,
tub.
Yeah.
right? He's back in the tub,
Yep.
sees the cardboard cut out of the lady, and then comes in drenched and grabs a shotgun. And that's
Right.
where...
Because he's pissed at that point.
Right. And that's where he's just shooting up the rest of the house, which I guess to him, he's like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
Plus,
the mouse over everything, yes.
yeah. Plus, I don't think Lars has told him that April's back in on the deal yet.
Right.
So, like, he's just like, screw it. Like, let's do this. And is shooting holes in the wall everywhere, which
Yes,
still,
they're
I'm like...
chasing, because he can see the mouse, so he keeps trying to shoot at the mouse, but he's
Right.
just shooting up the house, yeah.
Yeah, blows up the piano, blows up everything, and then finally thinks he got him cornered underneath the floorboards in this one hole, sticks a shotgun through the hole. It happens to be right where the bug bomb is, and just blows up the whole house. But not like a giant, like, splintered explosion, just
Right.
like the entire...
Like an implosion of that part of the floor, yes.
Yeah, the living room's just gone.
I did visit the house when it was
yeah?
in that condition with that hole. Yes, it was difficult to get past. This is a
We
very,
did
it's
not
a much,
think that through.
it was
It's-
a much smaller space than what it looks like in the movie, you know.
It's like
So
the
you
hole
had to
from
kinda
Home
skirt
Alone 2.
past the hole, yeah. Yeah, it was cool though.
And then after that, they pretty much established that his wife is going to fix up this place, help them fix it up, but the amount of damage and everything to restore it.
Well, and when they're lying at the bottom of that hole, then the answering machine goes on, and because those guys call, and that's when Lars learns that Ernie was going to make the deal with those guys,
Yes.
and so they fall apart,
Oh, yeah.
and they get really mad at each other, because you're going to miss the orange scene if you don't talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, you want to take the orange scene? Because this
I
is
don't
where it
remember
starts becoming a blur.
So yeah, it is a blur to me too. But they get out. They get out of the hole, however, and,
Right.
and they're arguing with each other. They're so angry with each other.
Yes.
And so and Ernie picks up. There's like a bowl of oranges there. Why I don't know, but there is. And so
Because their
gotta-
oranges survive explosions.
they do.
Yeah.
And so Ernie throws an orange at Lars, who ducks it. Steps aside, and the mouse is right there, and it hits the mouse.
Yeah.
And I did have one of the fake oranges for a long time. I don't have it anymore, but I did
Aw.
have a fake orange. I wish I still had it.
You were like,
You know.
nah, I'm just tired of this prop.
Well,
Just go to
because it
Michael's,
got
get another
dusty
one, and tell
dirty.
people it is.
I
and
could,
then,
yeah.
But
But they-
if
but
you would
that's-
have brought up an orange right here, right now,
Yeah,
and
I
been
could
like,
be
this
like,
is
"This is
it.
it, man."
Yeah, I would have been like,
Just
Like,
a
that's
big.
real,
I could have
isn't
just
it?
like painted a styrofoam ball orange and be like, yeah, that's it.
That's what we need to start doing. Just grabbing grabbing regular everyday things from Walmart and then being like, "This is the spatula used in Mousehunt." It was on the wall, I
You'd be like,
swear.
"That's
Who would
amazing."
know?
I know, right?
Who would know?
We're prop collectors.
We're just a fake prop house. So, yes, he does throw the orange. It hits the mouse, and then they are like, "Oh, I can't kill it. I feel sorry for it." And I'm like,
right.
this is another thing where they become very bipolar on their
Yeah.
feelings
Yes.
for the mouse.
They've been trying and trying and trying, and then once they're actually successful, they're sad about it. Yeah.
Right.
So they mail it
To
Cuba.
Cuba.
Yes,
Yeah.
Cuba.
right. Does it actually say Fidel Castro on
Yes,
it?
it
Yeah.
does.
Okay.
It's a
So
Fidel
once again,
Castro.
timelines, not knowing what's going on here.
Yeah.
But yes, they mail it to him, and
Somehow
then
fix the house in like a day and a half.
Well, there's a lot of plywood involved.
Yeah.
there's a lot of plywood. Yeah, because this is a montage, and during the montage, it's showing that the box went all the way to Cuba, and they were like, "Damn, Americans gypped us on the postage. Send it back." Right.
Right.
Which I'm like, how does postage work then?
You would think that they would check the postage first
Before they
it
ship it.
Yeah,
got
you'd think
there.
it would have been checked here in the U.S.
Who
Yeah.
pays for the
Not enough
postage, as
postage.
it keeps being shipped back?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, during that time, it's still tops 2 weeks, maybe 3 to
Maybe.
get to Cuba and back. Right? The house is completely restored.
You got to go through customs. So.
Yeah, yeah. The house is completely restored, and they're about to have their auction. Right? And everybody's coming.
it's passably restored. They do it so that that it looks
Oh,
restored,
visually,
right?
like,
But nobody can really tell. Like
cosmetic.
they just do a really quick slap
Just a
job of
paint
it. Yes.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where they have their auction now.
Yes.
The big mobster type collector is there. There's a sheik that's there. I saw.
Yes, there's a broad variety of collectors. Yes.
and then also the two ladies that he was flirting with on the bus stop have shown up, and they both have crazy ass hairstyles.
Yes, because they're hair models. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yes, of
One,
course.
I didn't know they were hair models. Thank you.
Yes, they are hair models.
I
They
just
say
thought
that
they
when
were insane.
When he first meets them, they say
Yeah.
we're hair models. Yes,
Okay.
they're foreign hair models at that.
Yeah,
How
hair models.
sexy.
Yeah, because one looks like a fountain, a hair fountain.
Well, it looks like a tree to me. I think it's
Like
a
a
tree
palm?
with like little doesn't it? Does it have little apple things on it or something?
It does have something
It
on the
comes
ends.
up and so it's like a
Yep.
tree.
And then another one is hair that's braided and wrapped around a physical giant spool of string.
See,
Yes.
like I got
Which
that one
Lars
'cause
Yeah.
digs right away.
And
yeah.
it also has a
String
giant
factory.
pin
Yes.
stabbed
Like-
in it too.
yes.
if they were
yeah, the
sewing-
needle.
sewing
Yeah.
needle.
If they were theming their hair, that lady did it right.
Right.
The other
Yes.
one, I'm like,
Because Lars has just popped a giant boner for her right
Yeah.
there. He's like, string.
I presume they just came from a hair modeling show of some variety.
Ooh,
I don't
yeah.
know. It's just I've always presumed.
And it's a coincidence?
Yes.
like, we models
Oddly
earlier,
enough.
now we are here.
Don't you like the string? Yeah, and so they're there, but they're not going to bid on the house. I don't know whether they're other than the possibly he invited them. I don't know, because even
Yeah.
Ernie seems kind of like, oh, hey, you remember them? And I'm like, I don't. Like,
Yeah,
know why
I
they're
have
there.
always just presumed there was an invite, but you're right. I don't recall that ever actually happening in the course of
deleted scene.
I don't even think that. I don't know. Weird.
But yeah, because those girls do say that they are his sister when they're in the hospital, and they need somebody to sign
go to
for
the
them.
hospital with him.
So they did. That's
they say
that's
we're
the closest
sisters.
connection.
Well, they say we're sisters, talking
Yeah.
about themselves, and the medical people presume they mean they're his sisters. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all there. They think the mouse is gone, but the mouse has arrived back with the mail for that day. And this is where the auction is just going off, and the mouse has climbed, I think, on the chandelier, and has dropped into one of the. It dropped into Helga, which is one of the sisters, cleavage.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
And then Lars is like digging, just you
right.
know.
Ernie's at the podium trying to just give a general talk before the auction starts, right?
Because they're both aware that the mouse is alive.
Yeah.
He was trying to hit the mouse with the
yes,
gavel.
because it came up in the
like,
podium, and he's trying to hit it, and then it took off. Yes. And everybody's like, "What is he? Why does he keep doing that?" Yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Lars is digging because the mouse got away and was up in the chandelier, fell down into her cleavage. She's digging in. April, his wife, sees this and is like shocked, but at the same time being like, "This house better sell for $6 million or more." You know, this kind of like, it's cool that you're feeling her up, but like this house better sell. And as all that's happening, I don't remember the auction doesn't finish, correct?
Right, no, because also Ernie's at this point when the mouse is down in her cleavage. Ernie is there as well.
Oh, Ernie bids on it himself. That's right. Right?
I don't know. It's been a little while.
He raises his hand.
By
mistake.
They start to take it as a bid, and then he's like, "No,
Do
but
we
that's
skip when
because
they put the hose in the wall?
No, because that happens
it's Lars
after
who
this.
does that, right? Because his hand
goes
up
That's
because
what I
the
mean,
mouse.
Lars.
Yeah, because the
said-
mouse. Okay, I don't know
Okay.
because the mouse has gone down his sleeve. That's when he gets to do a little bit of his Lee Evans physical comedy
That
stuff.
classic
Yes.
Lee Evans that we all know and cherish.
There were he had some fun little scenes that got cut
Can't
out
wait
that
to
I
drink
really
my
quite
tea
enjoyed.
after this
but-
show.
He's known for sweating when he's on stage. That's like a thing
he was
with
sweaty
him.
in this
I'm
too.
just known for sweating.
Yeah, he just
Anywhere.
sweats profusely when he's on stage. It's funny.
So,
Isn't that a good thing to be known for as a
Yes,
comic? Like
sure,
his
sweating.
jokes are good, but he is sweaty. Like, oh no.
that's another thing I did want to ask though, guys, is that the box with the mouse in it got returned, but when they show the box, there's two establishing shots of the box with like 2 cubo on it. It has no return address.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I have noticed that.
Well, how did it get back? And like directly back? Like
Yes,
I have
careful,
no idea.
Careful postal
Well,
work.
because even
Yeah.
whenever they mail it, they drop it into a random box.
Right. It's
So
not
it
like the
couldn't-
mailman came and picked it up
Right.
from their house even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No clue.
Because why would you put a return address?
Yeah.
Perhaps they returned him to somewhere in America, and the mouse just dragged that box with him all the way.
Mouse is like, well, I need a house.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make
Like
more
a snail.
sense.
Just move it on his back. Yeah.
It would make more sense
Or a
if
cat that busted its arms and legs out of a box.
Yeah.
it would make more sense if the box was redelivered to the same post office, because at least they can track it back to there, right? And then
Yeah.
the mouse just knows its way home.
Yeah.
But no,
No.
You know, let's just make it easy on everybody.
It's better for the reveal if Lars suddenly finds the box out in the snow and
Right.
goes, "Oh
Yeah.
no, he's here."
So
He's back.
the mouse has ruined the auction, and
back.
now Ernie has gone insane and is trying to chase it around the house. And Lars is like, "I have an idea. Let's grab a hose from outside and pump the walls full of water."
Yeah, what could go wrong?
I mean,
Like a water house.
this is that part where like I cannot.
Is that what Price Waterhouse is? I didn't realize that.
I can't fully determine if these guys are smart or sorry
Really,
for the word,
really
retarded.
dumb. They're
Did you
like,
ever think they were smart?
they are
Well,
quite
because sometimes
developmentally
they
disabled.
have they have genuine like
Thank you.
like solid ideas on like how to make this work and how to make the auction go forth and they,
Yeah.
like. But then other times it's just like house filling with water.
They're
Yeah.
not the clearest thinkers.
I guess not.
Not the
I'm
sharpest tools in the shed.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, are walls that like water sealed tight?
Oh, sure. Aren't yours?
I fill mine up with water to cool it off in the summertime.
Of course. That's how it's
insulation.
Well, didn't you know, like when a house floods, none of the inner walls actually get wet at all. It just
Yeah, it just goes right up. This is where the warthog shot happens, as there's a little, there's like a little dam in the wall, almost like a little ledge that the water comes up and spills over like it falls down. And so the mouse is running from this tidal wave of water. It's in that moment that he is the warthog. That's the warthog shot. So if you still it, because it goes so quickly, you don't really notice unless, like me, you know it's there.
Yeah.
Because I see it every time.
I haven't seen it.
But if you still it, you can look and go, what in the heck is that? It's not a mouse.
They're like, don't worry, it's like a 10-second scene.
Literally,
like
everyone in visual effects called it the warthog shot.
I mean, the only thing that keeps ringing in my head is the bassoon theme through the whole movie, like.
That's it, all right.
It's just in there.
That's Alan Silvestri, though. That's Alan
Yeah?
Silvestri who
Yeah?
wrote the Back to the Future theme. So yeah,
nice.
they originally wanted Danny Elfman, but he turned it down.
Oh, I mean, it would have been very similar.
Yes,
It'd
it
just
would
been
have.
Like,
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, special guest Danny Elfman.
He's been here the whole time. So yes, of course, the house fills with water and collapses, and they're like, "We're doomed."
And that scene immediately before the collapse, as the door comes down, and it goes, that's where we removed April's boyfriend from the porch. Luckily for every visual effects shot, in that one wasn't even. I think that one was visual effects originally because of the water coming in. I don't know. For whatever reason, we were lucky. We had a clean shot of that with no characters in it as well. So we were able to then just have it sent out, and they just basically put the clean version of the house over the version with him, so he's just wiped out. And yeah, that was so sad.
It was so sad for that guy.
For him.
Like, yeah, Mom and Dad, I got cast in this really awesome movie with Nathan Lane, and it's coming out with DreamWorks, and then, no, you're not. You're not in it.
Oh,
like, I swear I worked on this movie. I swear I did. I got the
still
paycheck.
Get paid, right?
Yeah, he got paid.
Well, I asked the question after the statement. They got the paycheck, but they got paid, right? I was like, oh, no.
So they think they're done for. His wife leaves him, and then basically they come up with the idea for string cheese. I don't know. I forget what the inspiration is for this, but this is the end of the movie.
Hey, cool, the mouse is still alive. What if we just became friends?
Yeah, it does just wrap itself
well, and
up.
I want to point out one thing. Right after the house floods, and they're out in what's now mud, and they're laying on the ground, and Ernie has paper pieces on him.
Okay.
Which there's no explanation of that in the movie. It was because Maury Chaykin's character, the big rich guy who was going to pay never paid more than $6 million. He came over with the check for like however many million it was. They sold it for 20 some odd million, whatever, and tears it up and drops it all over him. So now he's just randomly got these weird pieces of paper on him in the movie. Yes, yeah.
Like, ooh.
And when the house
continuity, we don't care.
When the house collapses, if you look, it's like the back right side of the house. There's like a pillar still standing up there. That's actually a telephone pole that was holding up part of the house. And there was discussion, do we add another visual effect to take that out? And in the end, everybody decided, no, it just looks like maybe part of the house. Sure. Even though it's this weird kind of pole that wouldn't be in a house. But, yes. So look for the telephone pole.
It's just a weird pipe hanging out.
So, yeah, after this, yeah, you're right. They're like, hey, Mouse is still alive. We'll never get rid of him. Let's be friends, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got a great taste, so he can help us.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they turn the string factory into a string cheese factory.
Mm-hmm. Not the kind that we know. Not the kind that I would want to eat
either.
No, because there's rodents running around the cheese factory tasting the cheese. And then they're like, yay, we're successful now. Like, end of movie?
Yes, well, there's the very clever quote where I even wrote it down where Ernie says to the mouse, I know some people who used a mouse as a spokesperson, and it seemed to work out pretty well.
How did I not catch that? Right? So it's at least 55?
Yeah.
You're right.
No, it's at least 1930s. Ooh, shoot.
Would he have been mascot by then?
Yeah, I don't know when they started using him as spokesperson per se, but
he was pretty big right off the bat.
Yeah, he was.
Because it was after Oswald was taken away from them.
So
and they were like,
Merry
well, we need a new
Melodies,
character.
like 39?
Yeah.
Damn it.
I
Disney
don't know.
nerds.
I'll look later.
So, yeah, that's Mousehunt.
Yeah.
Now, what we do at the end of each show is we go around the table and basically, would you recommend this movie to people? Should people sit down and watch this?
I don't think it's like that terrible. I would be like, if you're super bored and you want, like, if you're a Nathan Lane fan, do it.
Yeah, if you're a completist, yes.
Yeah. If you want to watch all of his films or something.
Mousehunt, Mousehunt. He does not do that song. That was cut.
We did have the Rat Party at Chez Ernie, though, which was
Ooh.
Jason's, which was closed down at that point.
Oh.
I made the
it's already
invites.
closed, so we can't add that to our tour?
Yes, no, it's unfortunately I think it's gone entirely
Okay.
now. I'm not pretty sure.
All
But
right. Summer.
All right.
my answer to that is, if I would recommend it, is of course I would.
Of course.
Yeah, because
I worked on it.
Yeah.
Come on, I
You
tell
helped
everybody
raise
to
it.
watch it.
Mine would be if you have children and you're looking for some more nostalgia to do, kind of like my parents did, where it's like, hey, I watched this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Here you go. Like, that's how I grew up on Mary Poppins and stuff.
I mean, the problem is, when this was released, nobody watched it because it came out the same day as another movie.
the movie you hate.
Yes, the movie I hate, and it's part of why I hate it. I
Yes.
also hate it just because I hated the movie in general.
Yeah.
But it came out the same day as Titanic.
Yep, there it
And
is.
the famous quote, the infamous perhaps quote in editorial when we got our release date and what movie titles we were coming out against was, "Oh, Mousehunt is going to sink Titanic."
Wait,
so not so much.
What?
That was
Who
one
said
of
that?
the editors.
You know
said
what
that.
did?
No.
Lost in Space.
Oh.
It finally took
Really?
over its first place.
Blech.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we've covered it.
Yeah, we've already
I was
taken
gonna
care of it.
say,
for
I
you.
hope
Don't
you
worry.
have. Yeah, all right.
Lost in Space was the thing to finally
Yes.
sink Titanic.
I popped into some theaters. Like, I went to see it, I had everybody go with me, and like, there was very little laughter in the theater for Mousehunt. I was a little upset about that.
Plenty of laughter
And-
for Titanic.
Yeah,
No.
and then I popped into some other theaters, and I did hear some where people were laughing a bit, but boy, they didn't laugh as much as I thought they should have. But
Because they
perhaps
weren't-
I was biased.
They weren't in England.
I think part of it might just be that
That's right.
like, it was just a very dark film.
Yeah,
It, like,
it's
was-
a really
it's-
odd comedy.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It looks like a Depression era film.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Sure.
like that's hard to laugh at when it's like everything's brown.
I'm glad Gore still got some more jobs afterward. But
yeah.
but it's a bit of an odd start to
Well,
his career.
We thought it was dark and, a bit of a Depression era film, but there were plenty of people, just like you said, that you found in a theater laughing.
Yes.
And those people we ask to give us 5. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, 5-star reviews for Mousehunt. The first one written by Steve C. He titles it Hilarious.
Oh, good.
Written December 2005. He writes, "This is one of those movies that catches you off guard. As campy and seemingly silly as it is, it's still all around fun. From the first opening minutes, you'll see some of the humor is a bit on the dark side, which is what holds its appeal. The brothers both seem dim-witted yet lovable. You see, they're just as fumbling and off as many of us have felt at times, which helps us relate to the characters. The way the CGI and mouse was done gives a great sense of interaction, and a surprise cameo by a notable Hollywood heavyweight is a nice surprise." I guess they mean Walken?
I guess so. A notable Hollywood.
A surprise cameo makes a nice surprise.
But it's also not a cameo, it's a supporting
I know.
role.
I was like, it's there.
Yet, in the end, without giving too much away, it's about tolerance and someone trying to find a balance to everything and their surroundings.
Someone. Not 2 people. 1 person.
Right? The other guy's fully balanced. This falls along the ways of Baby's Day Out. So if you enjoy prop-driven humor and gag setups, or just need a break from the stamped-out Hollywood flicks, this is a must-see, and you'll find yourself laughing uncontrollably. Smile emoji, 5 stars.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate him writing that.
There's some hyperbole there.
There might be a bit, yeah.
The next one's written by Ross Robinson in November of 2003, titled Fantastic.
Well, all right.
Mousehunt, I think, is a fantastic movie to watch. Lee Evans is a fantastic and one of the best comedians I have ever seen in my life.
I thought you said you didn't include this one.
I thought I didn't, but I guess I did. It might have been another one.
I'm enjoying it so far.
He is very, very, very funny, and I think he is very excellent and fabulous at making someone or more than someone laugh.
What?
I get the movie 10 out of 10.
God? Is he talking about God?
But he's very fantastic.
He's very fantastic, and he's
fantastic.
really good at making someone or more than someone. You
That's
choose.
Some two, at least.
Yeah. Maybe even some three.
And then the last one is written by Peter Trask in January of 2007, titled Gore Verbinski. A great first showing for the future director of the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. I am always finding gems like this one for my permanent can't live without collection that my family watches probably once a month or so. Mousehunt, I think, is one of those great...
Sorry.
Mousehunt is, I think, one of those great sleeper movies like Princess Bride that most people miss when they first come out.
What?
Now, I'm anxiously waiting the release of Pirates 3 to see how it all turns out.
Huh?
I can hardly wait.
There's this mouse in Pirates 3.
There's a cameo of a mouse in it.
To understand how good Gore really is, he has only done 8 films. 3 of those are pirates.
Only.
Huh?
Only.
Yep. To understand how to understand how great Gore really is, he's only done 8 films. 3 of those are pirates. And then there's Mousehunt, his directorial debut. Wow, I'll be checking out his other stuff now. Keep up the great work, Gregor, his first real name. 5 stars.
First real name is just like,
Wow.
what was his second real name?
Right? I just like, hey, to understand how great Gore is,
He's only done 8 films.
and I've only seen 4 of them.
I'm going to keep up the good work, young man.
I'll check out the rest. Like, oh, okay.
Ooh, The Ring is not what I thought it was going to be at all.
Ooh, I thought this was going to be a wedding comedy. Yikes. Someone get that girl a towel.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today on the show. Thank you, Cheryl, for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's a
Amazing.
pleasure.
Once again, let people know where you can find us and your show. Like, go check us out.
Well, you can listen to each of these guys on my show at mmmpodcast.com or find Movies Made Me on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcasting app.
Absolutely. And my episode is out now. It is the most current one on the feed. If you're listening to this the day it launches.
Please go listen to it.
And Jarrett's will be out on the 9th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And sorry I blasted through so many movies so fast at the very start. I was like, and this one's great, but I like this one. Then I was like, oh no.
I can't wait to
It's
hear
all
it.
good.
Honestly.
Yeah, I hope so.
And then check out some of the other ones, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show. So please definitely go over there right now. You're done with this episode. It's about to wrap itself up. Go ahead and tune into that one. Just plug it right into your podcast app.
Yeah.
You're already on this podcast app, so might as well just hit the search button.
Yeah, if you
look
found
for
this,
Movies Made Me.
If you found
But
this
don't do
show,
it while
you can
driving.
find Movies Made Me. Yes, don't text and drive.
Yeah. The
don't know what
link,
that-
the
Don't
link
podcast and
to
drive.
Yeah.
if you don't want to text and drive, and you want to do like 2 clicks in the show notes of this, there is a clickable link. It'll click right over to
Nice.
that. If you're an Apple podcast, it'll click
Amen.
right
And
over.
And then when
to
you go
that
to my show,
podcast.
you can go to the site and click back to Bombs Away show, and then you can click back to mine, and you can just go in this
You just
endless loop.
toot,
It'll
toot,
be
toot,
awesome.
toot, toot.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's and never stop the loop. That's
right.
all you listen to now. Once again, thank you for joining us on the show. It has been a pleasure.
Yes,
we
it's-
can't wait to work with you again.
Yeah.
It's been
Thank you
fun
for these.
me.
Anytime.
Thank you for these gifts too. I forgot that
Yeah.
Cheryl brought us gifts
Yes.
as if we were. She's the three wise men, not us. But these excellent.
We're the two dumb men.
Yeah, you're right. 35 millimeter film strips of Mousehunt, like from an actual
of two
print.
visual effects shots that we more or less talked about.
Yes, one
There's
is the cockroach on the fork.
Yes.
And then the other one is
ugly daughter.
That's
it's a
right.
trap scene, isn't it? The trap scene.
It is. Yes.
The
Yes,
traps
it
in
is.
the kitchen. Yeah.
That is excellent. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
We will
My
we will
hands are
definitely be posting these on our Instagram as well as your concept artwork that you showed us.
Yes.
So those who are interested in seeing that, please check out our Instagram, which is at Bombs Away Show, as well as our Twitter and our Facebook, all the same, at Bombs Away Show. If there's a question that you have for Cheryl or for us in this movie, you can contact us by writing contact@bombsawayshow.com. And also, please don't forget, we have our live show coming up August 16th. We're going to be doing Miami Connection. For anybody who's out here in Southern California, grab your tickets now. This is not a show you're going to want to miss. We're going to screen Miami Connection and then immediately do a live version of our show, complete with themes and photo locations, and ninjas, actual real ninjas, are going to be on site. So all of that, you can get your tickets by tuning in to our Facebook page or actually going to the direct link of www.bombsawaylive.eventbrite.com. That's BRITE. And that's where you can buy your tickets. Please do not wait. They will sell out. That just about does it for me. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for once more.
Thank you.
And I'm Jonathan.
I'm Jarrett.
And
See you later, you shrimp-sucking son of a bitch!
Hey, this is Jarrett with the Bombs Away podcast, and we're here in the Frida Cinema recording our podcast. So the Frida Cinema is a program of the Long Beach Cinematique, and it's located here in Santa Ana in Southern California. It serves the neighboring communities, and it is a non-profit art house cinema dedicated to enriching, connecting, and educating communities through the art of cinema. It's here to entertain, and that's why the entertainment industry exists. So what they show on these screens is pretty amazing. They have things such as the Director's Series, and it features directors such as Martin Scorsese, Mel Brooks, and Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman, if you didn't know, did The Toxic Avengers and The Class of Nukem High. They also have something called Friday Night Freakouts, and this is presented by OC Weekly. It has films that are among the horror or sci-fi kind of genre. They've done films such as Lost Boys, Hackers, and The Room. They've also featured anime like Your Name and Akira. Some other things they do are double features. They've done things such as Hot Fuzz mixed with Shaun of the Dead, which is actually two pretty good films. They also show a lot of cool things among the lines of indie films. They have The Void, which is currently on Netflix, and they also have had Academy Award-winning films such as Best Film winner Moonlight, which I think is pretty awesome that it showed in this space before it actually went up. If you want more information about showtimes, location, and everything film and entertainment related to the Frida Cinema, you can go to www.thefridacinema.org. You can also follow on Facebook at facebook.com/thefridacinema and on Instagram and Twitter at thefridacinema. The Frida Cinema, for filmmakers, for filmgoers, and for you.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?